Hi everyone, and welcome to a review of the Inov-8 X-Talon or Cross-Talon 212s. I bought these shoes for winter and winter running in really wet, muddy conditions, and they've been absolutely excellent. Mainly due to the grip. These feature Inov-8 X-Talon outsole, and you can see you've got these big, deep, square-shaped lugs, really widely spaced, grip absolutely amazingly on anything steep ground going up or down, wet, sloppy mud, running through puddles. It's a really sticky rubber as well, so it'll wrap itself and stick to roots and rocks as well. Absolutely amazing. I've never felt any grip in the same league as this from any of the other shoes I own. The downside to this rubber is that it will wear quite quickly if you use it on hard packed trails or tarmac. I, with this shoe anyway, try to avoid that as much as I can and only use it when it's really wet and horrible, because to be honest, that's where it excels. So I try to limit it to that, just to prolong the life of it and get the best use out of it. I have used it lightly on roads, just in between bits of trail, and it's not the best. Because the lugs are quite deep and quite spaced apart, it doesn't feel very stable, like again a good contact area with the ground. But mud, wet grass, puddles, absolutely brilliant, can't fault it. So the midsole has a 6mm drop from heel to toe, so fairly sort of middle of the road, but there is not much cushioning in the midsole itself, so it definitely feels more minimalist, especially if you're used to a more padded shoe. When I first got these, I thought I wouldn't really use them for anything more than 10 miles at the most, but I have used them up to 20 miles and they've been fine, although I'm not sure I would want to use them for much longer than that. There's no rock plate or rock protection in the sole, and you can see it's a very flexible, flexing it downwards and upwards it will flex almost completely in half. So it's very flexible, loads of movement in it. Will suit some people, won't suit others. I've quite enjoyed using it, something a bit different. Certainly in certain types of terrain I appreciate the feel of the ground underfoot and the contact I get with this, but also stepping on a stone you will feel it quite easily. The upper of this shoe is something I was slightly concerned about before I bought them. I've heard that Inov-8s are not the most durable of shoes, but I've been seriously impressed. I understand they've beefed it up a bit for this new season's model, and it does feel really tough. I mean, it's quite thick, quite stiff, robust, and there's shown no signs of wear at all really. I think on this right shoe there's a small bit of fraying on the stitching, but that is it. After 150 miles of quite hard use, I'm seriously impressed. I expected these to last me maybe this winter, and they've gone through this winter and should last me another one at least. So the blue and orange parts are reinforcement, and you've got that all the way along the inside and the outside. I think the orange is slightly thicker or tougher than the blue part, and the blue part slightly tougher than the black part. So you've got loads of great reinforcement. Maybe not as breathable as some shoes, but if you're running in the rain and the wet and the mud, which these shoes are designed for, it doesn't really matter how breathable they are because your feet are just going to be soaked anyway. At least they have been when I've used them. I would prefer the better durability. If you would prefer a more meshy shoe for more breathability, then maybe take a look at the X-Talon 190, which is a slightly lighter version of this shoe. The laces have been good. They're flat profiled, don't know if you can see, but they lock really well, sometimes too well. They can be quite difficult to undo after a run. I think maybe sometimes if they get really wet and muddy it all gets a bit clogged up and can be a bit difficult, but I've had no slippages with them. They lock really well and they're holding up well. The tongue is not gusseted, which you do notice. You'll get quite a lot of mud and debris coming in through the tongue. There, so there's nothing there behind the laces. Not really a major problem. Gaiters can solve it pretty well. The inside is not seamless in any way, I don't think. You can definitely feel seams. It doesn't feel very smooth, so I wouldn't really recommend wearing this barefoot. I don't anyway, so it's not a problem for me, but you might find discomfort if you're used to wearing shoes barefoot. At the top of the laces you have 2 extra lace holes if you wish to use those rather than that top one, so to get a bit more of a customized fit if you wish. As for the fit, they use Inov-8's precision fit, which generally means that they are narrower and maybe a bit closer fitting than some of their other shoes. When I put them on, they generally feel quite tight around the toes for me, but then after a few minutes of running I don't notice it, and I can usually wiggle my toes and move them about quite easily. So maybe it just takes a minute for them to bed in to my feet. One change I did make was to remove the stock insoles. So they come with, as standard, 6mm insoles, as in 6mm thick, which is these, and I replaced them for 3mm footbeds, also by Inov-8. So they do them in 3, 6 and 9mm if you want to customise the fit slightly. So they're a bit thinner, allow me a bit more room. Again, I have quite a wide foot or high volume foot, so I need the extra space in a shoe like this. But with this I found them to be a fine fit. I also only wear unpadded socks with them, which again helps, but generally I found it to be good. I've had no real problems with the fit. Just try it on and be aware that you can make subtle changes which could make all the difference, like I did. I also find these 3mm footbeds to be slightly more ventilated than the 6mm. It's quite solid. These are loads of holes, so I like that as well for drying, because they do get wet a lot and they do spend a lot of time drying. The names that Inov-8 give their shoes do have some meaning. So X-Talon refers to the name of the outsole used, so it's the X-Talon outsole, and 212 refers to the weight of the shoe in a UK size 8. Mine, a UK size 10, weighs, that's 212 grams it's supposed to be. Mine, UK size 10, 290 grams per shoe. Overall, I really like this shoe. It's super grippy, light, more durable than I could have hoped for. Been absolutely amazing this winter. If you have any questions about these shoes, just leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. I'll see you next time. Cheers.